What's going on, everybody? Got the trusty gimbal next to me today, and that's because I'm going over a topic matter that's dear to my heart and I've had a lot of questions about. And that's simply how to get started creating real estate videos. Now, it doesn't matter if you're already a photographer who is looking to expand their services, or if you're a videographer trying to figure out how to break into the industry. I'll give you a few tips and I'll talk about my personal experience and how I went from real estate photography to real estate video to a combination of the two services to really exponentially grow my company and my profit margins. Let's go. All right, so I think the only way to start with this is to give you a small amount of back history about me and where I come from and how I led to real estate videos, so that way you can take your own ideals and takeaways from this entire video. Now, I've been a photographer almost my entire life. I've been doing it since I was literally like 12 years old with my grandfather. Fast forward 10, 15 years, went to school, got a bachelor's in photography, had a small studio where I did mainly portrait work and catalog and fashion work. One day I lucked into meeting someone who ran a measurement and appraisals company, and they were looking to hire their first time full-time photographer. First time full-time, they were looking to hire a full-time photographer to add the services to what they were already offering their clientele. Now, this is personally how I got my start in real estate photography, and I don't think it's a bad place to get started. This was very easy for me because I didn't really have to search out clients. He just provided clients to me, and it started off really small. I was doing maybe 1 to 3 shoots a week. That led on and progressed further and further and further until I finally got to the point where I have my own company with multiple photographers, videographers, and drone operators, including a full-time admin that takes care of all that business. But you don't just start there. You have to progress there over time. How does that lead into what we're talking about now? Well, it just kind of does. I just wanted to give you some backstory on how long I've been doing this and where my information really comes from. Everything I'm going to talk about may not work for you exactly, but it did work for me. This is my personal real life experience I'm going to talk about, so hopefully you can take away from it whatever you need to get started in the right direction. So if you're a real estate photographer, that's the easiest place to get into real estate video if you already have a customer base. So the way I personally started getting into video is I knew nothing about video. I knew only photography related stuff. So I had a lot of learning curve I had to personally overcome that I used YouTube all about. I learned so much about video, and it took me about a year of practicing video all the time. And by all the time, I mean like once a week whenever I had a vacant house. I'm sure you're like me, you can only practice in your own house so many times before you're like, I need some real world experience. So I'll go ahead and tell you that if you are a real estate photographer already, it is the easiest way to get into the real estate video world. If you are only a video producer and you have zero interest in the real estate market, it might be a little bit more difficult for you, only because agents prefer someone that they can go to that provide as many services as possible. So if you're a photographer, a video creation specialist, and a 107 certified drone operator, that is your highest chance to get hired by the multitude of agents and really break into this industry, because they're looking for people that can do all of them. Now, very rarely are people looking for just a drone operator and just a photographer and just a video person, all separate. If you only are interested in video, then I would recommend maybe reaching out to agents and trying to become their part-time social media video content creator, because you're already knowledgeable in video. You already know how to create the things they're looking for. So if you offer them a service that's more than just the video on site at property, maybe help them with other videos they have on team, or any video they may need help with, this would be the best way for someone who does strictly video content to break into the industry. It's to contact these agents and brokerages with a sample reel of relatable content. So for them, you still are going to need some walkthrough footage, even if that has to be of your own house. You can show interview footage if you're a video content creator, because lots of agents like to be in their own videos now. So now that we've gone over that, I'll kind of go over my actual first video gig and how I got it. So as I mentioned, I've been a photographer and I've been doing real estate photography for a long time before I started video. I really only started getting video clients for real estate 2 years ago, which is about 8 years into my experience with real estate. So to say I was on the back burners and really just focusing on photography may be an understatement. But either way, I finally got that first real estate gig, and that's what I'll talk about right now. So what I did is I had this client that was obsessed with the 360 photography, and I personally don't like the 360 tours, like the Matterport tours or the cloud panos or any of those. It doesn't matter what service you use. I find them to be clunky and weird. I think maybe whenever VR finally takes off, that platform will also take off and skyrocket with it. But for now, it was quite useful during COVID for a lot of agents, but I still personally think video was better. So the reason I bring that up is because I had an agent that was constantly asking me for 360 tours because this is something she wanted to add. She never even thought about video. So one day when I was at her property that was completely vacant and I had nothing to do afterward, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and make a real estate video for her. And that's exactly what I did. And that first one was horrible. I did not get that job, but I learned a lot of important things because this was an agent I'd been working with for a long time. As a matter of fact, it was one of the first agents that ever hired me. So I really valued their opinion, and I told them in advance, like, hey, this is kind of a sample product that I'm going to create. Like, what do you think about it? Please give me your honest feedback. Don't just blow smoke. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I need to fix. And when you tell people that, sometimes they feel better about opening up to you. And she let me know. She was like, look, this is wrong. This is wrong. I love where you're going, but there's no way I could pay for this. So what did I do? I practiced a lot more. A couple months go by, more and more practice, trying out everything, really trying to get my video settings correct. And that's because real estate video is very difficult, and it relates to the same way that real estate photography is difficult. With video, you know, your colors have to be correct, your verticals have to be correct. You can't just throw on a cool LUT or color grade it in a uniquely artistic way and make it look okay. It has to be accurate to on-site, and that's what makes it so difficult. It's what made breaking into video for me personally so difficult, because not only did I had to learn video, I had to learn video so that way it was 100% correct right away. I had none of this artistic excuse or artistic leeway that most people have when they're first starting off with video. I also did a whole lot of random stuff like travel videos. Like I was literally videoing everything I could for about a 6-month period to really teach myself that video aspect. But it really did pay off, because 3-4 months after that first video experience, I once again had a vacant shoot for this agent, and I knew for a fact that after me, a 360 tour creation person was coming, because at the time I did not offer 360 tours because, as I just mentioned, I don't really like them. So I knew she was getting a 360 person. I decided to go ahead and do a video again, and I sent her this video, and the words I got back was just, oh my God, exclamation point, exclamation point. I've just canceled the 360 tour. That's how I got my first video, was just approaching another agent. Once that became a thing, it kind of became a thing that she liked on all of her properties, or all of them above a certain price point. So I started doing videos for that agent. And then that led to another video for another agent in that agency. And next thing you know, my videos are actually more popular than the photography service that I did a year later, because I don't know, maybe I'm doing real estate videos differently. I do it in a very timely manner, just like photos. It takes me about an hour on site, takes me about 2 to 3 hours in post-production. And I have videos ready that night, fully graded, 100% ready to go, licensed, and able for agents to use the very next day. So I think that was kind of one of my selling features, if you will, when I first started getting video. And that's how my video business grew to the size that it is now. I make twice as much doing a photo and video job than I did doing just a photo job. So what's nice about that is it allows me to restrict the amount of shoots on my schedule, so I don't have such a taxing schedule to keep up with. I'm not constantly feeling like I'm running late or I'm running behind. I only have 2 properties now a day. I have a morning property that I do photos and video on, and then I have an afternoon property that I'll either do photos and video and drone. It just depends on what it is. But typically speaking, I do 2 to 4 shoots a day if I don't have any videos to do, which is becoming more and more rare these days. So I don't really know if I went over everything I wanted to talk about, but there's the general gist of kind of like how I got into real estate videos. I mean, another way you could approach real estate videos if you're just a video creator and not a photographer and you're not already in the real estate industry is maybe approach a photographer that has no interest in videos. When I first started, I actually hired a video guy. We didn't get very much work back then for videos. I'm not quite sure why. I think it has something to do with the market. Either way, his videos were really great. His name was Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan, if you're watching this. But I was a person who hired a videographer to begin with and then slowly taught myself video in the process. So maybe you can do something like that. But that's it. That's how I broke into real estate video. I highly recommend if you are a real estate photographer, you have the highest chance of accumulating real estate video clients because you already have the client base that you can go after. Breaking into real estate video without offering photos or drone in particular, that will be a much more difficult process because everyone that wants video also wants drone. If you do drone and video, then that's an easy make-in for you also because agents are now always looking for drone pictures and they become very popular. My aerial mini add-on, which is basically 3 aerial photos, is my #1 add-on for sure of everything I do. Daylight to twilight conversions, virtual stagings, high-end edits. It doesn't matter what it is. My aerial mini is my #1 add-on. So if you're not doing 107 and you're not offering aerial services as a photographer or videographer, then once again, you are truly missing out on a substantial cut of money. Because as I mentioned before, agents are really into hiring one person that they can trust that'll do everything. They don't want to hire out every job separately. They want to go to one place an order for everything they need and be done because they've got a lot of stuff on their plate that they've got to deal with. Also, they don't want to deal with the headache of keeping up with multiple content creators. So if you really want to jump into real estate videos, the best thing you can do is be a real estate photographer or real estate drone operator. You really need those real estate connects to get into this industry. That's all I got for you. That's how I broke into real estate videos. That's how I suggest you break into videos, or should I say a few tips to help you break in along the way. And that's all the tips I got for you. As always, if you like the information I presented and the way I presented it, press like, mash, subscribe, all that jazz. Catch you next time.